gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Hello fellow non-controversial chatters.
Two, check, hello. I wasn't muted, but the microphone the input was turned off for some reason. I don't know what is up with that. Are my video settings messed up now too? No. I don't know what's going on with that. Rob, bad start for audio only gang. That's right. Dakadoon, thank you very much for 21 months, tier 1. Fellow non-controversial chatters, hello. I was not muted. The mute button was not clicked. I hadn't, for some reason, Streamlabs moved away from the microphone. The device was not working. I don't know. I'm not sure. He was silenced by big tech, just like I was the other day. We don't need to get into that incident. The incident, as we can talk about it, as we can refer to it now. Punching into the normal and non-controversial factory ready for work. That's right, Outrun. Me too. Anyways, folks, I've been saving this for like an hour. I've been saving this for like an hour. Lord help me, I got another one. Even though I'm on the outs with the Rain Total Body Fuel Corporation, former proud sponsor of the show, I can't resist. I could not resist picking up another rainbow sherbet flavored Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm tired. I didn't sleep enough. Shit, my subs are not. What is going on today? What's going on here? What's going on here then? All my shit is messed up. All my shit is messed up. The vibes are all off here. Hey, Lana. Okay, no one subscribe. I gotta fix this now. Gotta fix this. Oh no, Dave, you slipped a disc. Oh no. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm just waiting for my back problems to start. I know they're gonna start eventually. Just waiting for it to happen. Thankfully, I've been spared so far. Okay, now people can feel free to sub again, now that I fixed the problem. People can feel free to sub again, don't worry. Our fucking troubles are over, dude. Here we go. I'm gonna crack this open. I really don't know what I was expecting from this. I really just picked this up at the store the other day just because it was different and I hadn't tried it. I was really not expecting it to enjoy it. Chin chin. And no thanks to you, Rain Total Body Fuel Corporation. I still enjoy the product, though, I must admit. I still do enjoy the product. Oh. Oh, that's fucking good. God damn. I think this might be my favorite flavor. Slub to get cool emotes like this. That is actually not one of this channel's emotes. That's actually not accurate. I'm not sure who that is. I think you're confused, Ashley. I think you're a little confused about the emotes. Oh. I don't even know how to describe the flavor. Like, the logo has all the different colors. You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I am sick. Give me pony paste.
Thank you, OnlyFacts, for the one entire year of Tier 1. Thank you, OnlyFacts. What is pony paste? I don't know. It's like it's got all the colors. Like, I don't know if the idea is that it's supposed to be a mix of all the flavors, but like, oh, ivermectin. There we go. I gotcha. Yeah, I thought you meant glue, or I wasn't sure what that was. Or just shine a flashlight up your butt as well. We should be doing that regardless of how sick we are. Get the sun tanning on the old butthole and area. Apparently that's good. Apparently that's good for you. This is the new like manly man thing that people are doing. Only facts you do that, you'll be right as rain. You'll be right as rain. Anyway, I don't know what this flavor is. I don't know if it's a mix of the different flavors. I do detect a note of orange dreamsicle. I detect a note of orange dreamsicle. I don't know if it's just a mix of all the different flavors, but god damn, it's good. No rain sponsor. I've gone rogue here. I just got this because I'm addicted to the product, because they got me hooked on it. That's all. They're still official enemy brand of the stream. Enemy brand of the stream, but much like Jesus, I believe in loving your enemy. I believe in supporting your enemy even when you don't like them, even when you're fighting. Stop anytime he wants to. Thank you. Fuck. That is really good. Is it PepsiCo? I actually don't know. I actually think it's owned by Monster, which is obviously owned by some other big conglomerate. I'm not sure. I'm also a dissident rain enjoyer. It's just that they make a tasty beverage. You can't deny that. You just can't deny it. I gotta get them to send me more of this shit. I do. This is what I'm going to be reduced to. I'm going to go hat in hand, going to the Rain Energy Corporation, like Jack Lemmon and Glengarry Glen Ross, showing up with the rain, with the trench coat, all drenched. This will be the best investment we've ever made. Just send me a couple more cases of this stuff. Or you could try Bang Energy and get jacked drinking it. Does drinking Bang make you jacked? What's the one that owns every fast food brand but also supplies prison and hospital food? I'm not sure. Probably Pepsi. I spoke to your wife earlier on the phone. Is she at home? She promised me that she'd be able to hook me up with some more of this product. That's right. The guy's just like, I guess you can come in. Yeah, all right. This is what I'm going to be reduced to. Fucking begging the Rain Energy Corporation to take me back as a pitchman. Jesus, Marty is not. I'm slowly watching The Simpsons for the first time. 4 episodes into the first season. I think the first season gets flack, but it's really funny. I mean, there's definitely good episodes in the first season. It really, from 2 on though, it's just banger after banger after banger after banger. Like, it's truly incredible. It's like an achievement in comedy writing that's just never going to be matched again. Marty continues to be a wild card. It's true. Watched last night the episode when they make the Radioactive Man movie in Springfield, because my kid is obsessed with people falling off of catwalks into vats of acid. I know it's a weird thing to be obsessed with, but he spends a long time thinking about this on a daily basis. The idea of someone falling off a catwalk into a vat of acid, and he's obsessed with like the different splashes. He wants to go, so he has this little tank and he filled it up with like water and soap and all kinds of stuff, and he takes his guys and like tosses them in, and he like observes the way that it's splashing. But I showed him that episode because I was like, yeah, you should see there's a vat of acid and everything. And then the first time I tried to watch it with him too, he got so upset with me because it's like, no, he's not falling into a vat of acid. He's sitting there tied up and he gets hit by a giant tidal wave of acid that comes out of a vat. And he was like all mad at me because I'd like misrepresented what happened. But yeah, we watched it again last night though, and he was quite funny. That part is so fucking hilarious. Real acid? The goggles do nothing. It was quite funny. Yeah, and we were doing that this morning. Up and at them. I mean, he correctly criticized you. I mean, I guess I did misrepresent it a little bit. Excuse me. I thought he would be okay with that. Like it's a guy like getting hit with a big wave of acid from a tidal wave. I thought that would like be okay. I thought that would be acceptable, but he was like, "What is this? What is this? There's no one falling into a vat here. No one has fallen into a vat of acid." And I'm trying to explain, like, but there's a vat and it's acid, and it's like he was just like. But that was the first time we watched it a couple weeks ago. We watched it again last night. It was very funny. Yeah, that's a prop X-ray machine, right? Yeah, we'll check on that. Now, X-ray machine do full power and action. Whole lot of elite exclusive 24-month TRRS sub badges. It's true. No vat, no falling. No, he was very disappointed the first time I tried to show him this. He's really fixated on this idea, though. Like, he watches, like, there's YouTube videos of, like, a compilation, like a Joker compilation of every single time the Joker falls into acid in every single media. Like a 15-minute video fits all the supercuts of all the acid falls. What about falling into molten lava? Well, falling into vats of anything I think is acceptable for him. Ideally, it's acid, but we did watch the other day. This was a big milestone for me. We did watch Terminator 2 the other day. I've been wanting to show that to him for a long time. He's obviously still a little bit young, and I was like, you know what, he's 7. I think he can watch this movie now. And because it's got a part at the end with the vat of molten steel, which I knew he would be really into. And I was seeing he was like watching YouTube videos and seeing like he was getting spoilers from it. So I was like, okay, I've got to watch this movie with you, so you already know what happens now. But he was quite impressed at the end of that, though. He was very impressed with the T-1000 falling into the molten lava at the end. He was quite happy with that. T2 is my first R movie. Like, I grew up just watching all kinds of VHS. Like, I don't remember when I watched these movies, but I just, watching like Total Recall, for example. Total Recall I watched like repeatedly when I was a little kid because it was on VHS, and it's so violent. Like even the gunfights in it is just like the squibs and everything is so violent. Clueless showed our 6-year-old the first Lord of the Rings the other day. I think that's fine for a 6-year-old. I'm very lenient about this. Kids can understand media. They understand the difference between real and not real. Yeah, Ilana, you're cool now. It's fine. You're fine. You're fine. But he was very impressed at the end of Terminator 2, and he knew about the thumb, but he didn't know like the context around it. So I think it was still enjoyable for him. I got really emotional watching it. I don't know. I think I'm just getting older and I'm starting to like have a harder time controlling my emotions. I got really emotional, not at the end part with the thumb and everything, even though that is an emotional part. When he's like, I order you not to go. I order you not to go. I know now why you cry. But it is something I could never do. But that's brutal. I know, Sean. I know. But I was okay watching it the other day. But the part that made me so emotional was when Sarah Connor goes to assassinate Dyson. And she's like walking towards the house and like the Terminator music starts playing and you see how she's become the monster. She's become the monster that traumatized her so much. And the little kid's like going, don't hurt my dad. And he's jumping on top of the guy. And I was watching it just going like, just like really like trying not to just openly sob. That really got me. That fucking killed me the other day watching that. I was watching a clip of Hard Target the other day. The movie's crazy, violent, extremely silly, so many slow motion reaction squib shots. I miss squibs. Squibs are so good. We got to bring squibs back to action movies. It just completely changes the dynamic. We love violence, don't we, folks? We don't want it to happen, but we love seeing it if it's fake. We do. And I believe I believe Hard Target was John Woo's first American movie, wasn't it? Or Western movie. But it's true though, because I was trying to argue because my partner was a little like leery about it. Return to Squib, that's right. My partner was a little leery about it, but I was kind of like, he sees violent movies all the time. Like we watched The Dark Knight the other day. There's people getting shot in that. There's fucking Harvey Dent getting half his face melted off or whatever. You know? He sees violence all the time, but it really is true that like that James Cameron violence just does hit different though. With the squibs, makes it seem so much more visceral and real. Like Dark Knight is very intense, but it's very bloodless at the same time. That's one of the reasons that thing about Christopher Nolan movies. Like there's all these gunfights and action and people getting shot, but it's completely bloodless. It's so different when there's like a gunfight and you see the big, like the red mist going up and everything. Even though I think Nolan is a little overrated, The Dark Knight still really does hold up though. Like I rewatched the Burton Batman and I love the Burton Batman so much. And I was expecting to not really like the Dark Knight as much anymore, but it's still very good. I still really like it. The whole part, I got a little emotional watching that as well. The whole like Harvey Dent part. That's very effective. The whole Aaron Eckhart arc in that movie. My issue with Nolan is he knows how to spend $1 trillion making a well-executed but not very good movie, if that makes sense. I've genuinely enjoyed his movies. I think he's quite overrated. Putting him on the level of like master filmmakers like Kubrick, whatever. I don't agree with that. I did try and watch Tenet the other day, and I didn't make it all the way through Tenet. I just couldn't do it. Tenet was a movie that was just like, it seems like they just came up with the concept of backwards fighting and then just like worked backwards from there. It's like they had that Don Draper meme, and it's like that's the big picks, backwards fighting. And who cares about the story? We'll just make a movie to justify it. Yeah, that's right. I like his movies generally. I still don't think he's made a better movie than Memento. The Prestige is really good as well. I like The Prestige. I love Memento though. I still don't think he's really even topped that. Yeah, I know he's making the Oppenheimer movie as well. I saw the trailer before Avatar. Tenet probably would have been better if the audio was audible. Like in order to connect with the movie, you have to connect with the characters first and foremost, right? You have to connect with the characters and want to spend time with them and understand what their motivations are. And Tenet is a movie that just completely forgoes that whole process. And you're like, look, here's like a really cool guy that's getting into like cool futuristic technology. What more do you need? It totally skips that whole idea of having a character that you understand and you connect to. Dark Knight is good because of Heath Ledger. That's pretty much it, but he's so good. I really like Aaron Eckhart in that movie and the whole Harvey Dent Two-Face arc as well. I think it's a good script too. Like I think it's a cool kind of fake out. It's got like a 90-minute movie where you kind of think it has an ending and then there's like a heel turn or a twist or whatever. He wanted us to lock him up. Contrast with Aliens, we care about these people. Even the characters that you don't even spend that much time with. You want to spend time with them. You don't want anything bad to happen to them. Two-Face was my favorite character from the animated series, so I was sad he didn't get more of his own story. I think it was a bizarre choice to kill off Harvey Dent in that film, and not having him come back in the third one. The third one was very disappointing. Yeah, Bane's all about giving power to people, even shows people's courts, but then they've got to do that thing too where they show him being very evil as well. The thing about Tenet for me is that lady is so tall, and I was distracted by her being so tall. I don't know if I got to the tall lady part. I don't know if I saw that. Yeah, it is the Marvel movie villain problem. Don't make them last more than one. Yeah, and the same thing with Marvel with Bane, even though not Marvel, but one of those kind of classic things of like the villain making all kinds of great points and being very sympathetic, and then you have to just show them being evil in order to like be like, no, but he's not the good guy though. Just so we're clear, as you saw with like Killmonger in the Black Panther movie. Oh, fuck, that's good. I don't even know what this tastes like. But that's what I was kind of getting at though, is just that it really is true that even in T2, like the body count in T2 is pretty low, but the violence is just so much more visceral and like realistic feeling than like any movie that's released now. My favorite new Marvel villain was the land back guy who made great points, but then wanted to genocide everyone on land for no reason. That's what they have to. That's how they get you. I didn't see Pig. I didn't see that one. Was that Nicolas Cage? He was a monarchist, I guess, but he also wanted to like redistribute resources to like radical black activist groups around the world. And if you're going to be a monarchist, if you could at least do that, use the power of your monarchy to support anti-colonial struggle around the world. When he kneecaps the entire LAPD with a minigun, that's the total sum of my politics. That's just so great. That shit is so great. We're gonna have to put Terminator 1 and 2 in the TRRS Rob Cannon movie queue. We got RoboCop and Total Recall coming up next. I think we're going to have to put T1 and 2 next after that. Nedlock's never seen T2. My goodness. Looking back at the history of the LAPD, especially in the 90s, they kind of deserved it. I mean, it's a big Jim Cameron moment too. Who else was doing that? Who else was doing that in 1992, making a movie where like the main bad guy is an LAPD cop? Right? And the big action set piece in the movie is the fucking biggest movie star in the world, just like going one-man army on the entire LAPD and just fucking annihilating them. You know? James Cameron. There's no one else that was like willing to do that kind of thing. Excuse me. He was mainstream. This is the biggest movie of the year. Anyway, I really did enjoy rewatching it though. I just loved the movie so much. We've got first Mondays of every month, the movie Rob or Nuts. We'll get through them, I promise. I will be there. I will be there for the movie nights. I've never seen Scanners, Lana. I've got a big Cronenberg blind spot. I've seen some Cronenberg, but a lot of his bigger movies I've never seen. Videodrome, Scanners. I've seen History of Violence, which I liked a lot, but the early stuff have not seen. Are you going to SmackDown tomorrow? Well, Netlocked. Yes, I am. Yes, I am going to WWE SmackDown tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to the legendary pop that we're going to get for Sami Zayn. Montreal's own Sami Zayn. In the biggest storyline in the company right now. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, he directed Eastern Promises as well, Cronenberg. I did see that one as well. It's the early ones that I haven't seen. Is Cronenberg the guy that does the sick body stuff? Yeah, that would be him. No, I didn't see the Joshi match. It was with Bull Nakano, though, right? Bull Nakano is fucking great. I gotta watch that. I remember when WWF brought in Bull Nakano to feud with Alundra Blaze in the 90s, and Bull Nakano was fucking terrifying. For like a little kid. 11 or 12 years old, seeing Bull Nakano, just like, holy shit, this lady looks so scary and dangerous. James Woods was legit a great actor, for sure. I think James Woods is fantastic, or he can be. Shame that he's a right-wing dipshit. He's good in Casino too, only relatively small role. I really liked when I was younger that movie John Carpenter's Vampires, which he was in. I don't know if that's held up, but I would probably like to give that a rewatch. I am looking forward to going to SmackDown. I haven't been to see live wrestling in quite a long time. I can't even remember when the last one I went to was. The most memorable wrestling event I went to was the one where Jerry Lawler had a heart attack live and almost died, or did die, and they brought him back to life. And John Cena and CM Punk had a great standoff. It was the night Bret Hart came back to Montreal. We did watch Top Gun, yes. Are you ready for the nuclear heat when Sami Zayn loses to Roman? Yeah, it should be something else. I would love it if he win. We all know it's not going to happen. It should be great though. I don't know. I'm sure like he'll get a nice pop. Like I don't know what they're gonna do on Friday. He'll probably be like like a tag match or some contract signing or something else. But it's gonna be a great pop. In fact, I think probably the last wrestling event I went to was the Monday Night Raw when Sami Zayn made his debut in Montreal, and he injured his shoulder. He was going to wrestle John Cena in the John Cena U.S. title open challenge, and he injured his shoulder while celebrating on his way to the ring, and like separated his shoulder. It had been right before his debut match. I think that was the last event that I went to. I'm not cursed. That's not true. I'm not cursed. I don't know what we're actually doing today on the stream, by the way. I'm not sure. I know there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I didn't really have much planned. We've been going pretty deep on some of on like all the news and that stuff lately. So I don't know. I don't really know what we're going to do. I did see that that TikTok that I posted about the alien stuff did nothing on TikTok, but actually did get some play on Twitter and got a few people mad about that. Only a few. Only a handful of people were mad about it. But that was kind of funny. I still haven't been blessed by the TikTok algorithm. I'm still waiting. I know eventually the TikTok algorithm will smile upon me. The last time I went to SmackDown, Vince made an appearance and my partner started a "You screwed Brett" chant that drowned him out for like 2 minutes. Well, that was the one that I went to a couple years ago as well. Was the one where Brett finally came back to Montreal with WWE. He got like a 5-minute ovation. Do me a favor, please choose. Yeah, I was there for that. That was the one with Jerry Lawler having a heart attack and with Cena and Punk. A great go home promo from Cena and Punk. The crowd was totally dead because Jerry Lawler had fucking died, and everyone thought that Lawler had died on at this live event. And it was amazing how impressive Cena and Punk were that they were able to like reheat this like completely fucked up, freaked out crowd. I would go with network, Marty. Why do I have to? What am I choosing? What am I choosing? I've actually never seen Network either. I've never seen either of those films. I would really love to watch Network. There's a bunch of like 70s movies that I need to watch that I've never seen. All those like paranoid anti-CIA films from the 70s. Was it Day of the Condor? Is that one? 3 Days of the Condor, yeah. I need to see that. There's like 5 really important 70s movies that I need to see. I have seen The Conversation. That's excellent. The new Hollywood era is a vibe. It is true, yeah. It's like when you could still, there was actually like artists like making mainstream films that were like, you know, critical of the national security establishment, the intelligence community. Completely unthinkable now because now everything's like rubber stamped by the Defense Department and the CIA if they're ever going to like talk about these things. I think I've seen one of those Liger Owen Hart matches, Lana. There's one where I think Liger ends it with a DDT off the top rope, and it's sick. I'm happy I got to see Owen Hart wrestle live once. I got to see Owen Hart. I went to a Monday Night Raw in Syracuse, New York in like 93. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Lana. I've seen some of Vader's stuff in NJPW as well. Maybe the new MCU film getting panned might burst the bubble. Well, it's funny too, because like that new Ant-Man film is like launching their whole next like phase of storytelling. And it's one of the worst reviewed films. People are hyped for MODOK. I did see like the screenshot of MODOK that dropped today, and it's really something else. It's really something else. Maybe it'll be all right. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed the previous Ant-Man films. This is the debut of the new like big bad guy, Kang the Conqueror or whatever. Maybe it'll be all right. I'm laughing at all the Flash promo where all the Batman logos are like 3 times the size of Flash logos. They're really trying to sell it as like a Michael Keaton in Batman. It's like they're basically trying to make it a new Michael Keaton Batman movie rather than a Flash movie. The first Ant-Man movie is quite entertaining. I remember Edgar Wright was supposed to direct it. And it didn't work out. Okay, so he made his debut in the Loki series, but that was like one of the... He wasn't really officially Kang the Conqueror in that, though. He was like... What did they call him? You know, he was something else. He was like the guy, but like a variant version of the guy that you're going to eventually see. The one who knows, or something like that, they were calling him. He Who Remains, that's right. Yeah, okay. That Loki series was not bad. As a comics fan, you need a 101 course on Kang. Yeah, I'm pretty unfamiliar. Was it low-key good? Oh my. Oh my goodness. The Loki series set the bar at every show after pretty much did not come close. I liked the first bit of WandaVision when it wasn't a superhero show, when it was like something interesting and weird that reminded me of Lost. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then it eventually just turns into like superheroes flying around and shooting energy beams at each other. And I was like, all right, well. Please tell John Tory to quit. Okay, here. I will. Worldly Bong. Here, this is for you. This is for you, okay? One sec. Hey. Hey, John Tory. Yeah, John Tory. I'm talking to you. Are you listening, John? Quit. It's time to go. It's time to go, John Tory, sir. Quit. Get out. We don't want you anymore. You're gone. You're finished. You're through, sir. Quit. How was that? No problem. You can clip that and send it to John Tour if you want. Maybe it'll be the sort of like the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back or what have you. Fire promo, thank you. I don't cut enough promos. I thought he did quit actually. Have you watched Severance? No, I've heard good things but haven't watched it. I have not watched it. I'm just going to get a glass of water, folks. I'll be right back. Yes, I have an unread copy of Infinite Jest, Biggerwick. I do. I'm one of those guys. You know what I'd love to see commissioned? A respectful 4-season TV show based around Castro and the revolutionary struggle for Cuba. I mean, doesn't Steven Soderbergh's film get into that though? The Che film? Getting more into Castro and his love life and the assassination attempts and stuff would be pretty cool. I've never seen that one as well. That should be another movie night movie. Fidel is sort of peripheral and only in Che Part 1. I would like to see something that dives into that relationship a little bit more. You know what? Give me a Pedro Pascal Fidel movie. What about that? That'd be fucking great. Chris Pratt is Fidel Castro. They take that barracks in that famous first battle. That just happened. The CIA is behind me, isn't they? Aren't they? See, that doesn't work. You can't do soy banter with the Fidel movie. Yeah, Oscar Isaac as Che. There you go, Johnny. I was trying to think of who that would be. Right, book it. You want a fucking Oscar? Listen, if you're like a movie studio watching this right now, on the off chance, you want a fucking Oscar? You want an Oscar? Give us a Pedro Pascal, Oscar Isaac, Fidel and Che movie. Instant Oscar. The cigars are poisoned now. Oh, God. Oh, God. That's instant classic. Instant classic. As long as someone's like taking it seriously, you know. In the Chris Pratt as Fidel version, John Krasinski as Che. Oh my God. So they sent an assassin to kill me, but they actually seduced her. Krasinski's like, the
You
camera.
simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
I want a Officer Derner movie.
That'd be good too. Listen, if The Rock wants to do something outside his comfort zone, what about that? If The Rock ever wants to get out of this character where he's just playing The Rock in every single film, give me a Dwayne Johnson, Chris Dorner movie. If The Rock wants to get taken seriously, if The Rock wants to get some Oscar chat, thank you, Dimitri, for the 200 friend coin. I bet a Ho Chi Minh action movie would slap too. I would really love to, because there's been like the Vietnam movie trope with the CCR and stuff. I would love to see a big budget Vietnam War movie feature with the Americans as the bad guys. I would love to see that. Or really any major like anti-colonial struggle in history. A big budget. Yeah, for sure. Vo Nguyen Gap, the Dien Bien Phu. I would love to see, because you see it a little bit in those Korean and Chinese movies, but I would love to see films where you see the American military being depicted as like the evil baddies. In the same, an accurate movie, yeah. The same way that we depict all these like foreign baddies in other films. Like I love that trope of the evil Americans. But I would like to see a big budget Western version movie like that, like that played in the West and appealed to that kind of crowd. I think that would be great. A Nguyen Giap movie is my fucking dream. Could start from a personal perspective where he starts as a history teacher that's protesting, for sure. It'd be fucking great. DP Arcade killed children's cartoons are full of woodland creatures pointing pistols at each other. Here we're debating if kids can watch a Batman movie, and DP Arcade, their cartoons are like, watch this Jack 10-year-old wrestle a tiger. That'd be sick. But seriously though, if there's one takeaway from this brainstorming session, a fucking Pedro Pascal and Oscar Isaac Fidel and Che movie would just be terrific. That'd be so great. I can link the DPRK Tiger cartoon in the Discord. Yeah, okay, let's do it. I'd be curious to see this. Let's do this. Where are you posting it? Where are you posting it, Lana? Hello, Lodane. I would do with the Fidel and Che movie. I would do like it's told in flashback, right? Like you see Fidel in post-revolutionary Cuba. You see Che in like, was it Guatemala? That was where he was shot, right? Or am I getting confused? But he's writing in his journal, you know? Bolivia, yeah, thank you. I'm really availing myself well today. He's writing in his journal, you know? You see a little bit of them, like, you see a little bit of both of them. And then you do the flight, you go see flashbacks to the revolution, living in the mountains. Okay, let's see this here. We are going to watch this North Korean cartoon that Lana just sent in. A boy returns home on tiger's back, part 2. That's 2 first-time chatters did unlurk due to mic mute and to correct you. Got to keep getting things wrong and activate chatters. That's right. I just mess up like this intentionally to create engagement and to get in new viewers like real Drake Myers. You don't think I know that Che was shot in Bolivia? Obviously, I know that. Obviously. But when I make these kind of mistakes, it brings in... no, it's okay. It's okay. It brings in the engagement, okay? And then I'm laughing all the way to the bank. Messing up to get the clicks. Ha ha. Exactly. You all fell right into my trap. You fell right into my trap. Got the biography right behind me there. Of course I fucking know that. I do know it. I'm just becoming an old man and I'm just always constantly forgetting things and getting confused now. That's the sad thing. Okay, let's see this. Huh? That's right, Norm. A boy returns home on tiger's back. Chedal is the poor boy who took to the woods to level up and learn about Juche. Good for him. The kids are all right after all.
온 산판을 다 뒤져서라도 차돌이 놈을 찾아서 없애버리게. 알겠소이다.
Sinchal, you're living the gimmick. The 2 guys are his grandpa and the assassin the landlord's paid to kill the kid. Okay. Good morning up the res. Hello.
할아버지. 아니, 왜 나왔느냐? 몸조리를 도와지 않고. 이젠 이롭나이다. 그런데 곡식들이 왜 이리 되었나이까?
바다에서 불어오는 저 몹쓸 바람 때문에 곡식들이 다 말라가는구나.
Fucking wind.
곡식을 살려야 하지 않겠나이까?
옳다. 그래서 이렇게 바위와 나무들을 옮겨 바닷바람을 막자는 거다.
이야, 할아버지는 어떻게 해서
Yeah,
그렇게
probably
힘이
sent by the
세졌나이까?
imperialists.
힘? 응, 힘도 키워야지 저절로는 생기지 않는다.
그래요, 할아버지. 그럼 저도 일하면서 힘을 키우겠나이다.
I should start showing this to my kid.
할아버지, 제가 먹인나이다.
아니, 넌 보물이길 참대창을 구하려고 한다고 하지 않았는데.
힘을 키워가지고 가겠나이다.
제 힘을 키우면 보험도 이길 수 있지.
자, 어서요.
더워서 안 된다.
그래도 한번 내보겠나이다.
그래, 그럼 어디?
You can do it.
자. 아직 힘이 약해서 안 된다.
그래도 한번.
Chad Grandpa. He has this little boulder that's so adorable. Oh yeah.
아니, 힘들지.
아니올시다.
샘물을 마시며 좀 쉬었다 하자. 어서.
집을 떠난 지도 이젠 여러 달이 지나갔구나. 어머니가 얼마나 기다리실까. 어머니, 힘을 키워 기어이 참대창을 구해가지고 돌아가겠나이다. 어머니. 저 마님.
차돌이엠인가?
왜? 차돌이 녀석이 참대창인지 뭔지 한 거라도 구해왔나?
아직 소식이 없어서
I hope he sees his mom again.
상당히 치성을 좀 드려볼까 해서요.
쌀을 구워달란 말이겠지?
예.
그 집 차돌이 놈 때문에 우리 복도기가 부적을 타서 범살이 안 빠지는데 뭐? 쌀을 구워달라? 네, 참.
인젠 범한테 먹혀 죽은 지도 오래일 텐데 치성이나 새나. 예,
Give her some
먹어봐.
rice.
진룡님이 배고파 하시겠다. 어서 산당에 가자.
나 빨리 내다 실게.
Give her some rice.
어서 가자.
He's just immature. Yeah, thanks, kid. Yeah, appreciate that. Get this shit out of there.
차돌아, 참대창을 구했느냐? 왜 이리 소식이 없냐?
Chattel's gonna get that spear. Grow up. Come on.
센 힘으로 발이 들고 높은 산도 옮기는데 나를 구원할 장수님 무대 서선다.
You're probably right, Dimitri. I always do try to say DPRK, but gotta be careful. There you go, look at that. Damn. He grew up to be one of those DPRK soldiers that, like, with the sticks, like, whacking each other with sticks and stuff. Doing those big strength feats. You're too swole, son.
내가 이젠 힘 장사가 됐구나.
이야, 할아버지도. 이거. 이야.
Puck Duck thinks wearing a suit of literal golden armor will save him from the tiger. Their wealth will not protect them. Fucking dumbass. Puck Duck.
신기한 참대
Classic.
어디 있을까? 이제 내게도 참대참을 구할 만큼 힘이 생기지 않았을까?
Classic Puck Duck.
마음이 깊었는데 너 참대창 생각을 하는 게 아니냐?
할아버지, 내일 아침 또
Can't
날까
sleep thinking
하나이다.
about bamboo spear.
그런데 참대창이 꼭 있어야겠느냐? 어?
예?
자, 봐라. 내가 저 바위들과 나무들을 통째로 떠옮겼으니 그 힘이면 참대창이 없이도 놈과 맞설 수 있지 않겠느냐?
참대창이 없이도요?
예.
알겠나이다, 할아버지.
아, 그럼 떠날 차비를 해라. 자더라.
내 놈을 찾느라고 해를 넘기며 온 산발을 다 뒤졌다.
Who's this fucking snake?
전번엔 살았지만 이번엔 어디
Oh,
죽어봐.
this is the assassin? Hired an assassination to take him out?
내게 참대창은 없지만 어디 겨뤄보자.
With no spirit, I'm super swole.
잡는 놈을 잡아가없어서 잡는 놈을 잡아가봤어.
This is like a cop when there's a school shooting, that guy.
이거 어디로 뛴다?
Where do I go?
뭐라고? 차돌이 놈이 죽었다고? 그게 정말이냐? 예. 그 황소만한 범한테 덮쳐 죽는 걸 연운으로 똑똑히
I don't think you did see it, sir.
이제 시장님이 노여움을 푸셨겠으니 금집까지 지어놓으면 우리 복덕인 범한테 먹혀 죽을 걱정은 없다.
Yeah, it's not going to protect you.
아유, 차더라. 내가 정말 봄한테 먹혀 죽었단 말이냐? 아유, 차더라.
I think Russ needs to always listen to Granddad when he wants him to get super swole by lifting boulders. Shit. Oh my god, that's a huge boulder. Oh shit. top. Flying double axe handle. Shit. Now is the tiger going to respect him? He's crying.
또 덤벼들 테냐?
He's like, I'm done. I'm done.
엎드려! 자, 집으로 가자.
Yeah. Waving him off for Ric Flair. Yeah. No. That's my favorite heel move.
우리 복덕이만 살게 되었으니.
Yeah, these fucking reactionaries are like, get what's coming to them when he comes home triumphantly riding the tiger's back.
오늘부터는 이렇게 금집안에서 살게 되었으니 이젠 범한테 먹혀 죽을 걱정은.
You have no danger to be killed by a tiger. Classic expressions that are said immediately before someone is killed by a tiger.
집안에 들어가 있으면 봄한테 안 물려가지.
그렇지 않고요.
No, he can't.
어쩌면 이렇게 수고를 많이 하지.
이걸 멀다. 고맙소이다.
안녕히 가십시오.
안녕히 가십시오.
됐구나. 우리 복덕이 봄한테 안 물려간다.
잘했어. 봄이다. 봄이다 그랬다.
Oh shit. Somehow
사돌이 놈이
Chadol.
우리 복덕이
잘
자리가 없어서 우리
실력군데
복덕이
맥날 실력을
We will devote ourselves to the... Yeah, you had your chance. You had your chance.
아이고 이년이.
Owned.
너무 뭘 멍청해 있어. 복덕이 빨리 금집으로.
Owned.
검집으로.
They didn't even touch him too, and he's just such a loser that he just died anyways. Through the table. You're telling me these people don't get wrestling? I defeated the enemy with my strength. Just like the Koreans and the Chinese heroically fought off the imperialist dogs. No other strength but mine can save me. Let us foster our own strength. No other strength but mine can save me. See, it's entertaining, it's fun, and it's got a good moral.
봄한테 죽었다던 내가
This is exactly what a
어떻게
cartoon
봄을
should
타고
be.
살아왔느냐? 어머니, 저는 힘을 키워 제 힘으로 봄과 싸워 이겼나이다. 제 힘을 키웠다고.
It's got a good, you got a good wholesome takeaway from
봄을
it.
잡았나이다. 그러고
What's
보니
not to
내가
like?
몰라보게
It does make a lot of
달라졌구나.
sense for the DPRK.
가슴도 쭉 벌어지고 장수가 됐구나. 응?
복덕아.
복덕아.
아이고
Puck duck.
우리 복덕이가 봄한테 죽었구나.
Killed by the tiger. The tiger didn't even touch him.
이렇게 신령한테 비로 목숨을 구하려던 복덕이는 죽고 제 힘을
tiger didn't
키워
even touch
봄과
him.
싸워 이긴 차돌이는
He was just so pathetic that he died.
오래오래 살았다고 합니다.
Yeah, next time share your fucking rice. How about that? How about that, Puck Duck? That was great. That was great. Thanks for sharing that, Lana. Yeah, killed by the tiger. The rich gaslighting again. I'm sorry you shit yourself to death, Puck Duck. You have no one to blame but yourself, and your parents agreed. This is a great line, just this one, just going right to this frame. If we build a house with gold, no need to worry about a tiger. Oh, but how wrong they were. What a nice lesson. What a nice takeaway. The U.S. invaded to save people like Puck Duck. Yeah, we're still promoting the Puck Ducks of the world in Korea and elsewhere to this day. If Puck Duck left Korea after this, he'd get to go on a big talk show circuit, talking about how he's a victim. He's a victim of unprovoked tiger attacks by the brutal DPRK brainwashed automatons. Yeah, Puck Duck's a victim of communism and the woke mind virus. That's right. The people's tiger scared Puck Duck to death. That's all it takes, huh? Well, it's almost like these reactionaries are a paper tiger. It's almost like that, isn't it? That was great. I already said that joke. Okay, I didn't see that. I legitimately didn't see that, but I give Lodane credit for that one. How dare you steal an obvious joke? We must allow Puck Duck to express himself in the marketplace of ideas. That's right. We got to get the NED in there to put Puck Duck as the head of a dissident ethnic group think tank. Get the NED, get some funding from Northrop Grumman and, whoever else. Raytheon. Get some Raytheon bucks in there and give it to Puck Duck. Put him on the nightly news. I didn't watch a bit of it, and that's what I learned from the commentary. That was great. That was great stuff. I bring Puck Duck on Novara. That's right. For sure. Just so everyone understands that they're not that kind of socialist, If we build a house with U.S. aid, no need to worry about a tiger. That's right. The IMF gave us a nice grant to protect ourselves from this tiger. Now we're good to go. Puck Talk Pod Talk, a new podcast talking about the evils of communism and tigers. Who says no? It came in for Puck Duck's speech at the Oscars asking the U.S. for more money. He gets the shout out at the State of the Union with a little, he gets to come, he gives a little wave. Puck save America. Oh my goodness. Seymour Hersh was on Democracy Now! Is that true? We could pivot to looking at that kind of stuff because I'd been wanting to. I know he did an interview on Radio War Nerd, and you're saying he went on Democracy Now! Maybe we can transition into that. I don't really have a lot of energy to be yapping away today. I've got no energy, despite my Rain Total Body Fuel that I drank earlier.
This is what
The Radio War Nerd interview was pretty mid. Let's see here.
This is
Let's do that. Let's do that. Shit. Let's do this. Let's keep this rolling. We can transition into some news. Some news content. With Seymour Hersh's... I see Democracy Now!, who's been sometimes squishy on these things, looks like they're doing some pretty good work right now. Both the interview with Hersh, and I'm seeing a clip also from a day ago about how China's being encircled by military bases. Interesting. Democracy Now! Is not always great when it comes to these issues. What's this carrier wave? Oh, that's the Ben Norton one. Okay. Let's start with this. I think we watched the Ben Norton one, didn't we? I think that was the video that we watched last week when we were on the front page. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, let's check this out. Let's check out this interview with Seymour Hersh.
Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in New York, joined by Democracy Now! Co-host Juan Gonzalez in Chicago. Hi, Juan.
Hi, Amy, and welcome to all of our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
Well, we begin today's show with the legendary Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Seymour Hersh. In 1970, he won the prize for his reporting for the Dispatch News Service on the My Lai massacre, when the U.S. slaughtered...
I think they like Hersh because he's a legacy journalist and also because he's fairly anti-Putin in a way I think they like. The story's still super important, though, don't get me wrong. I mean, as my case making about all this was just that, like, it's great to look at this reporting, but we all know what happened. Like, we all knew the moment that it happened, who sabotaged the Nord Stream pipeline. It's funny that we even have to, like, have this, pretend that there's any kind of mystery to it. I still see people online framing it as like a conspiracy theory. You're still, how dare you? There's no evidence to suggest that the U.S. It's like, come on. It's so silly. And it's the kind of thing like, well, there's no evidence. You're just saying this, there's no evidence. Yeah, there's not going to be evidence for another 20 years. And then when the evidence comes out officially in 20 years and they admit that they did it, long after it fucking matters, why don't you just call this stuff what is happening when it's happening rather than waiting 20 years for the papers to be declassified about it? Why don't you just believe your own eyes and ears, you know? Why don't you just believe your own eyes and ears? How about that? Instead of waiting 20 fucking years for some paper to be declassified or some admission to happen. When you see America saying, hey, there's not going to be a Nord Stream pipeline, and then lo and behold, there isn't a couple months later, assume that they did it. I don't know. It's like pretty basic stuff to me, but people have a hard time with this, I guess. They're not really doing good work. The U.S. is quiet quitting Ukraine with the RAND report, CSIS, IMF report on the Russian economy. And the Hersh story is all dropping around the same time. No one from DOD accused, and they're just opposed to continued support. As I was saying the other day, too, it's become clear that this is pretty unpopular with Americans. You know, Americans are not really happy when they're fucking live, when they're getting completely screwed over in their day-to-day lives. It hasn't really captured people's imaginations in the way that they thought it would, except for like a certain hardcore base of libs that are really into it. Even a lot of those people have moved on, though. All the Ukraine flag types, like even most of them have kind of given up on the whole thing, which is sad too, because like they cheerlead this war. They suggest that anyone that's talking about peace or negotiation or dialogue is like a fucking Russian-loving genocide supporter. They cheer this thing on, so it becomes a total disaster shit show for actual people that live in Ukraine. I'm seeing videos of people like screaming, being forced to join the army because they're running out of cannon fodder. And people have cheered this on and built big brands about supporting this. And now they're just like, oh, I'm kind of tired of this now. I'm just going to move on now. Meanwhile, there's people still living in this fucking war zone. There's still civilians dying in both Donbass and elsewhere in Ukraine. There's still Ukrainians that don't want anything to do with it, being conscripted and forced to join the military for this war that these people were cheerleaders for, enthusiastic cheerleaders for. You know? It's sad. It's really sad. Anyway, let's watch this clip.
More than 500 Vietnamese women, children, and old men on March 16, 1968. His reporting in the New York Times on CIA
fucking horrific.
spying on anti-war
Evil
activists during the
evil
Vietnam
empire.
War era helped lead
Jesus
to the formation
Christ.
of the Church Committee, which led to
Evil
major
people.
reform.
I'm just going to skip some. I mean, the footage is important.
He published
It's important to see
bombshell
the
report,
brutal imperialist
this
violence
time
that America has
on his
inflicted
new
on the
Substack
Vietnamese and people
page.
around the world, but I don't know if I'm going to get in
piece
trouble
was
for it, so I'm going to
headlined,
skip it.
How
But
America took out
I think
the
if
Nord
we should
Stream
be able to look at this
pipeline.
stuff if we're going to talk about the
It looks at
news
one
or
of the great
history or
mysteries of
imperialism
the
or any of these
past year.
things.
Who is behind the bombing of the Nord Stream pipelines, which were built to carry natural gas from Russia?
Liberal establishment supported the Ukraine war because it was a great way for them to force Ukraine to deregulate their entire country. Labor laws are gone. Safety laws are gone. It's a libertarian, no rules type of country now. Yeah, and worldly bong. I mean, I talked about this with Amanda on Friday, Radio Free Amanda, who talked about how a lot of what has been going on in Ukraine has just been setting it up for further. They're just dropping whatever pretense of having any kind of social spending or labor protections now to make it the ideal fertile ground to be rebuilt by American multinationals. And you saw even like Zelensky the other day pitching BlackRock and all these evil companies on coming in thereafter. That's what it's always been about. Yeah, banned every left-wing party in Ukraine, jailed the communists. Yeah, even though we hear from our anarchist friends, the left is fighting Putin's soldiers there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they thought Ukraine wasn't exploitable enough when they've been exploiting the hell out of it for decades. It just goes to show like what happens when you allow the fucking US to wage a proxy war in your country. Like they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your democracy. They don't care about your human rights. This childish notion that that's what any of this had anything to do with, these things. Protecting their autonomy, protecting their democracy. Protecting them from an evil, unprovoked, imperialist Russian invasion. Give me a fucking break. You see what happens when people agree to become Western proxies. And they just get used. They get used and thrown into a fucking meat grinder for nothing. And now America's like, yeah, we're tired of this now. Yeah, the only thing worse than being a U.S. enemy is being a U.S. ally. That's what our friend of the stream, Henry Kissinger, quoted. Pretty depressing how screwed Ukraine is for years or even decades to come. Yeah, and they've just given billions of dollars and billions of dollars worth of arms and training to these absolute ghouls. Sad. Yeah, they didn't learn the lesson in the early 90s and they're doing the same thing. They're still making the same mistakes.
To Europe. The pipelines were severely damaged last September in a series of underwater explosions in the Baltic Sea. In his new piece, Cy Hirsch cites an unnamed source who says the sabotage was carried out by the U.S. Navy, which planted remotely triggered explosives during NATO exercises last September. Hirsch reports the Biden administration began planning the act of sabotage in December 2021, 2 months before Russia's invasion of Ukraine. On February 7th, 2022, President Biden held a joint news conference with
It's not a lesson for someone like Zelensky to learn because he has the same values and ambitions. He was in the Pandora Papers. Yeah, and obviously even though he was elected as someone that was talking about peace and making peace in the Donbass and signing the Minsk agreements, which I think it seems like, given the way that he was successful in the last election that they had, shows how popular that was, the idea of ending the conflict. Maybe he cared about that at one point, but obviously they promised him everything. They brought him into their little elite club. Ukraine elite will be in the Swiss mansions while the country's in ruins post-war. It's just sad. It's just such a sad state of affairs. None of this had to happen. You know? None of this had to fucking happen. And it's been very infuriating, just the whole last year of trying to talk about this conflict before it happened, when it was beginning, during it, and seeing the way people just got totally twisted up and supporting and promoting this idea of just like of turning Ukraine into this Western proxy and just throwing them at the Russians. And people have been cheerleading this, while also positioning themselves as the big human rights defenders. Sad.
With German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and Biden brought up the future of the Nord Stream pipeline.
Invades.
This is all the evidence you need.
Tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine.
This is all the evidence you need.
Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly? Since the project and control of the project.
They have been very unfair to my man Rob. Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
I promise you we'll be able to do it.
I'll promise you we'll be able to do that.
It is an act of war,
Cy Hirsch
for sure.
reports U.S. Navy divers planted remotely triggered explosives on the pipelines in June while NATO was conducting military exercises in the area. He reports the divers were all members of the Navy and not members of America's Special Operations Command, whose covert operations must be reported to Congress. Then, on September 25th, 2022, a Norwegian surveillance plane dropped a
Germans should be pissed
buoy,
about this.
which triggered the
Germans that are paying like hugely inflated energy prices right now should be fucking pissed about this.
The United States strongly suggested Russia was behind blowing up its own pipeline. This is National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan responding to a question at a White House press briefing.
In his speech this morning, the president called the Nord Stream pipeline attacks
but we're the conspiracy theorists.
sabotage, and he said now the Russians are pumping out misinformation.
But we're the conspiracy theorists, as they're calling it a fucking false flag on their own infrastructure.
Likely responsible for this act of sabotage?
Well, first, Russia has done what it frequently does when it is responsible for something, which is make accusations that it was really someone else who did it. We've seen this repeatedly over time. But the president was also clear today that there is more work to do on the investigation before the United States government is prepared to make an attribution in this case.
In the
Yeah, we got to do more of an investigation.
few public disclosures
projection.
about the pipeline explosion.
Sounds like whataboutism,
In December,
sir.
the New York Times reported Russia had begun expensive repairs on the pipelines, a move which has raised questions about Western claims that Russia had bombed its own pipelines. Meanwhile, some Biden officials have publicly praised the fact that the pipeline was blown up. This is Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs Victoria Nuland speaking during a recent Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing.
I am
And I think the administration is very gratified to know that Nord Stream 2 is now, as you like to say, a hunk of metal at the bottom of the sea.
We're joined now by Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Seymour Hersh to talk more about his new piece, How America Took Out the Nord Stream Pipeline. Well, the White House has described Hersh's reporting
deeply implicated
as, quote,
in
complete fiction. Calls are growing
Euromaidan coup in the first place.
Probe into the explosion. Cy Hersh, welcome back to Democracy Now! If you can flesh out what it is you found in your report and what first tipped you off, albeit there were a lot of public comments, including the Polish government right
for sure,
after
Drake.
the bombing,
Yeah.
saying, "Thank you, America." Lay it out for us, Cy.
Well, first of all, I think the reporting really can be described as a friend of mine did.
Yeah, who was when the pipeline was blown up? There was that. Is that what she's referring to? There was that one EU politician that was like, or the one Polish politician that was like, "Thank you, America." Again, talking about just like saying the quiet part out loud.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
It was a Polish MEP who's fucking married to that author of like the Red Famine book. Anne Applebaum's husband, yes. Jesus Christ. Like you can we still have to pretend that this is some like conspiracy. It's fucking hilarious. It's like all these people are all connected with this, deeply connected with this project, this Ukrainian nationalist project, you know, or this double genocide myth that Anne Applebaum is like one of the central fucking figures of that in terms of like Western academics and historians that is like become risen to prominence promoting this idea. And then her husband is like, "Thanks for blowing up the pipeline, America." Like, Jesus Christ. And that's the funny thing too, because like when you talk about Canada's involvement as well, Matt, it's as much as we think people are quiet quitting or moving on or whatever, Canada, we got true believers. You know, Chrystia Freeland is not cynically turning Ukraine into a Western proxy just to destabilize the Russians and to promote our own multinationals. No. She's a true believer. She's in it to win it. She's in there all the way. Yeah, we are the worst about it. Like as I was talking about with VJ, like we've been a central part in this whole movement. This whole movement to undermine the socialist legacy in Ukraine and create this right-wing nationalist version of Ukrainian identity. You create it and promote it. Yeah, it's personal for her. It's her whole family's life work. That's what her Nazi grandpa was doing in the 40s. That's what she's doing today. Exactly, Amazing Bird Show. Exactly. And thank you to Comrade Social Distancing for the gifted sub to Alexandra Brooks. So thank you, Comrade Social Distancing. And if anyone else, while I'm pausing this, wants to contribute to this stream and help keep this content on the air, please subscribe to TRRS, gift subs, gift friend coin, buy merch. Every little bit helps. It supports the content that I do, and it makes sure that I can continue putting this content on Twitch. Obviously, this kind of viewpoint that we talk about on this program is, I think, lacking when it comes to geopolitical analysis.
You can count
over
on
here
me.
on Twitch.tv
Rob to talk you through all this.
So if you want to support that and you want to help ensure that it stays on the air, please subscribe. Join Twitch's only two-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down clout tiered reward system. Life-changing decision. It will be a life-changing decision for you. Like Rajian, thank you very much for the gifted sub. Very first gifted sub from Rajian. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we'll continue the clip. But please subscribe to the channel.
What I did was really deconstruct the obvious. I mean, you have to hear what the
Thank you,
president
Ben.
said. But of course,
I really appreciate hearing that.
Plans that I'm writing about, and they include. There was a committee set up. Jake Sullivan was directly involved, He was the national security advisor, still is. They set up a team to look at options about how to put pressure on the Russian government to back off. I'm getting a bounce in my ears, so this is comical. Can you hear me?
We hear you perfectly. We don't hear the bounce, Si.
Oh, okay, that's great. I hear it though. Anyway, and so
I'm gonna fix Seymour's audio.
I'm just writing about inside baseball stuff. It's the normal things you do. They set up a committee to think of options. Russia was clearly going to go. The threat the president had yet to make had not been made, and this is December before.
I think that's a bookshelf. I think that's a bookshelf.
21.
Blurry.
And the question inside the committee, and it included the usual CIA, NSA, Treasury Department, State Department, you name it, and they met in a secret office building in the across the street from the White House, the executive office building. The option was: do you want us to do something kinetic, or something not kinetic? In other words, not kinetic would be more sanctions, or something kinetic would be, taking out the pipeline.
Trying to hide his copy of Infinite Jest.
Thought about it, and an answer came pretty quickly. I would guess.
Or his copy of Stalin, History and Critique of a Black Legend.
It came in late January of last year. And that statement came, at that time, I think the committee involved, a lot of sophisticated people in the intelligence and operation community, concluded you could do it, and the White House was told it was possible. I think that led to the comments, which really, of course, made the people on the inside go half crazy, because it was supposed to be completely covert. But at that place, as I wrote, it was simply described as a classified operation. None of the rules of reporting to Congress were involved. And so they began their planning. They went to Norway, which is a great ally of ours. Norway was one of the original signers of the 1949 NATO treaty. I think 19 nations were involved then. And Norway is a great ally. We have spent, I write about this in some detail in the article, hundreds of millions, probably more, closer to $1 billion or more, upgrading facilities. Norway has a 1,400-mile border along the Atlantic coast that goes from Oslo in Europe all the way up north it runs into the Russian border in above the Arctic Circle. So we put a lot of facilities up north there. Synthetic aperture radar, which costs a fortune to monitor the Russian nuclear sites around, and also their military activities around there, up in the other side of the peninsula, in the Kola Peninsula. So they're just our guys, and they're also great at doing underwater stuff. And so that's what happened. We did a plan with them. We had to clear it with Sweden and Denmark. I'll leave it to them to decide whether that they were accepted the explanation we were doing exercises in the Baltic Sea for the hell of it. But so far, I haven't seen much from either of them. And, it's a tiresome game to me. And so what happens is, when I do my story on Substack, I wouldn't even think, I'm embarrassed to say it after all those wonderful years I had at the New York Times, I wouldn't even think of taking a story like this to the New York Times. They've decided that the Ukraine war is going to be won by Ukraine, and that's what it's.
The New York Times would call this Putinist propaganda now.
That's their call. So I just did my reporting, and the miners came from a very facility in a little small town in Florida, and the mining community in the Navy is very secret, and they just do their business. They don't talk. There was perfect people to get, and they practiced it. And as you said, there was a major exercise every summer by the Sixth Fleet, which American Sixth Fleet out of Italy, which also has the operational rights in the Baltic Sea. Baltic Sea is a huge place. The pipelines we're talking about, Nord Stream 1, which came alive in
As a Danish citizen, my country, Denmark, does not give a fuck if the USA blew up the pipeline. Quite the opposite.
Are ready to pump has 750 miles, and they go straight from Russia, which is loaded with all kinds of gas. They're in Siberia. They have enormous reserves, directly into Germany. And I can tell you, Nord Stream 1 was a godsend for the German economy and Western Europe. They produced so much gas at such low prices that the German government was actually able to resell some of the gas the Russians were providing at a profit without Russia objecting. And so the German economy
Sounds like a pretty bad deal.
booming.
You better continue antagonizing those people at the behest of the United States of America.
And everybody's right now. It's hell to pay. It's gotten very cold there. There's a lot of anger. And anyway, the purpose.
Hirsch, so I wanted to ask you in terms of.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about reading for liberation. You don't need Nord Stream 2 when you can buy fracked gas from the United States
potentially Russia had
at a higher cost and a higher environmental cost.
It's ludicrous to think that that would be so, that they would invest so much money in pipelines and then bomb them themselves. But I'm interested in the lack of press attention since the sabotage occurred, and also the lack of congressional attention. I think back to the CIA's mining of the Managua harbors back in the early 1980s under the Reagan administration, when the conservative Republican head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Barry Goldwater, objected and raised concerns that this was a covert operation where Congress was not notified. And then, of course, Congress cut off aid to
I'm sorry, stout liver.
As a result,
I'm sorry.
there was an International Court of Justice ruling against the United States. But in this case, this kind of sabotage, the media seems not to be at all interested in finding out what happened here, as you have, and Congress, there's no one in Congress that's been raising questions.
You listened to the newscast that we just heard as the show opened. One horrible event after another. I think the world's taken a very bizarre turn. I also, it doesn't matter what I think. There's no question there's been a polarization of the press since Trump got in. We're now on two sides, right, left, Democrat, Republican, however you describe it. If you watch Fox News, you don't watch MSNBC, et cetera, et cetera. And if you read the New York Times, you're not going to get what the right winger, the conservatives have been after the New York Times and Washington Post for their quote unquote liberal views. So we've got a polarization going, and at this time we've got a Democratic president that has done some good stuff domestically. But I can tell you, I'm not understanding the total commitment to Ukraine, and I'm not understanding what I read, because obviously I have access to a lot of people who see things. I've been doing this, Amy, and I've been doing this, writing about COVID activities for, am I that old? 300 years. Anyway, the bottom line is the stories I've been getting about the war, particularly beginning in fall, and that's what gets interesting, have been pretty dire. The Russians, I think the end is just a question of time. Right now, it's a question of how many more people Zelensky wants to kill of his own people. It's going to be over. What happened is the plan was to put the bomb, and I can't answer your philosophical question about why Congress isn't doing anything anymore. Congress is pretty much polarized just as much. And there's also an enormous continuing hatred of
save that for after Dakadoon
in this country, which is foreign policy disagreements are one thing, but it's very personal here, and that's not useful. But anyway, the other, I don't think there's any chance that Putin wants to take over Europe. I don't think he wants to have Ukraine tamed, but he's not interested in doing anything more. But I may be in a minority about that. Anyway, what happens is there was an exercise in June, and it was supposed to. The bombs were put in there under the cover of a NATO exercise. There were a lot of different countries running around with divers and blowing up things. It was an exercise to go find and chase mines. There never had been one before. It actually was whoever in the CIA or the other agencies that thought this up should get a bow, because it was pretty ingenious. So in that exercise, the divers went down, did what they were trained to do. They're very good. C4. A couple hundred, whatever the weight is, bombs enough to blow up most cities, most buildings.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely got sources. There's
some in New York.
Anyway, like, it's been amazing the mental gymnastics trying to portray him as being just some kind of crank or conspiracy theorist. When regardless of whatever commentary he's done, he does clearly have sources and is able to kind of report on these issues. Like, given his track record, come on.
He did their job, but the president at the last minute hesitated because he was afraid.
Yeah, he's a blogger.
Right after the exercise would put the finger at us. And then he wanted permission to do it anytime. And that caused an enormous trouble in the team. The team was, you know, people are sophisticated in the intelligence services. I know we have cliches about them. We see the movies about them. And the bottom line is this made sense of them blowing up a pipeline, blowing up a pipeline it's actually owned by a division of Gazprom owns 51%. That's all.
He said in the corporate oil world, everyone knows what happened. Private companies have money for intel. But again, like, I don't doubt that that's true. Like, they all know. But again, we all have eyes and ears. You know, this is what I don't fucking understand. People stick their heads in the sand. And they don't see, like, just the clip. For me, all you have to do, you just have to look at the clip of Biden. You have multiple clips of both Biden, like Biden and other high-ranking officials in the U.S. government. Victoria Nuland. I think there was a Marco Rubio clip as well. Like, they all fucking talked about it. They're like, yeah, we're going to get rid of the pipeline. And then they do. People wonder about what happened. The sides are set. Objectivity and critical thinking are out the window. It's fucking remarkable to me. Seriously. Yeah, he said he simply deconstructed the obvious. That's an easy story to find. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, again, I'm just some dumb guy here on twitch.tv. And yes, we looked at that clip about the pipeline before the explosion happened. We knew immediately what happened on day one. And lo and behold, here we are a couple months later, and you're getting reporting confirming it. It's not hard to figure these things out. It's really not. I'm glad that there's actually reporting being done. I think it's important, but like, it's not hard to understand what the fuck is going on when it's literally just a matter of listening to what U.S. officials say, having basic pattern recognition, learning a little tiny bit about what the United States has done around the world over the last 7 decades, and just being able to put 2 and 2 together. It's the baby talk silliness you get when you think without Marx. That's right. Biggerwig. That's right. People are legit brain damaged from living in this society. I'm not trying to be funny. I legitimately believe that. I guess I felt maybe at one point, Lana, like during the Bernie campaign, that we were making some kind of progress and like people rejecting the narrative and being able to figure these things out. And this whole last year has just been like a cold bucket of water on the face when you realize like how we're just surrounded by people, even in our own movements, that are still just like apparently just hopeless, just unable to figure these things out. Why were Germany so cucked? I mean, they're militarily occupied by the United States. That's what I mean. I think German industrial capitalists are mad, but most of their ruling class are just taking it. Because the ruling class, like, they're fucking unoccupied country. No, unseen levels of brainwashed, for sure. What would Bernie as president have done about Ukraine? I mean, probably not much different from what's going on now. Because if Bernie ever tried to have a dissenting view of that, he would have been fucking absolutely demolished for loving Putin and being a tanky president or whatever. I don't think it would have been very different from what we've seen. Although I do wish we were yelling at Bernie rather than Biden. That is true. Bernie also voted for NATO actions and against Iran. Bernie makes the classic mistake of trusting the imperialists time and time again. Anyway, it's not hard. It's not hard to figure this stuff out, honestly. It is really not. And I think here on this program, we've had the correct analysis from moment one. Even though I loudly and confidently predicted that the invasion wasn't going to happen, it doesn't change the reality that we were correct in our understanding of the context of it, and we've had the correct analysis this entire time. And we've been in the extreme minority in that. On the left.
the Russian oligarchs, that 49% of the Nord Stream 1 are owned by 4 business groups in the Western Europe who farm out the oil anyway. They saw the threat as being valid.
Yeah, totally, Matt. They would have Castilled him and the bread tubers would have defended it.
Well, okay. But in September, late September, they got the word, they fixed it so he could. But then they thought it was, I don't know what they thought, but I don't think they thought in late September he would blow up the main pipeline, Nord Stream 2, which is a new one that had been just built. And it had been sanctioned. It had gas in it. That's why so much leaks. 750 miles of methane gas were sitting in it. But it had been sanctioned by the German government. And so when he did that, here's what Biden did. And this is what I think the ultimate point of the story, and why so many people, even the intelligence community, are very troubled by it. What he did is he said, I'm in a big war with Ukraine. It's not looking good. I want to be sure I get German and West European support. And I know
Hello,
what is
Vexing
coming.
Thoughts.
And if it's going to be bad, I don't want the Germans to say we got to check out because we're getting massacred. We'll be massacred with no cheap fuel, and our economy will go bonkers. We're going to check out and we're going to open up the gas line, which they could do. So he took away that option, and what that has done, as you know, America has been talking about ever since the first pipeline, Nord Stream 1, came online in 2011, and there were years before it was being built. This goes back to the Bush-Cheney years, and as you know, I did a lot of reporting for the New Yorker on those people, that particular gaggle. Anyway, and at that time they began to talk about the threat, the threat of gas, the threat of cheap energy for Europe, would always seen as a threat to make Europe be more palatable or more willing to trade with Russia. We always wanted to isolate Russia. This has been a theme of the last decades.
Well, Simon, but can I ask you also there are several people, obviously you've gotten criticism at times for many of your exposés, but there are some people who are saying that this particular expose does not have a whole lot of documentation, that it essentially relies on
documentation
one internal source, anonymous source of yours. How do you respond to those criticisms that this is much less documented than previous exposés of yours?
I'll get to that, but let me finish my thought because it's a very important thought. The fear was Europe would walk away from the war. Now what he's done, and you have to lift it up a little bit. There you go. There. Now what he's done is he's told Europe, you're second rate. And I think the consequences of this for the Europeans are going to be horrific. This has cut into the notion that they can depend totally on America, even in a crisis. And I think it's going to undercut NATO, which I always found to be supremely useless. But certainly the European countries are going to be, I know people that are paying 5 times as much now for electricity. People are paying 3 or 4 times more for gas. There's not enough of it. It's very expensive. It's colder now than it was in the fall. They had a light fall because of climate change, if you want to believe it or not. And anyway, I think the consequences politically for us are enormous. I think the reason that Biden and his people in the White House have denied the story and continue to deny it and get accepted by some of the press, my old newspaper, the New York Times. I don't know why they're not doing more reporting on this instead of relying on a denial and walking away from the story. Ditto for the Washington Post. I think the consequences politically for us.
There's not the reason is, despite whatever work the New York Times has done in the past, it's been all right. But there's not been a imperialist intervention or war or coup or proxy war that the United States the New York Times has not enthusiastically supported. Time and time again.
Some countries walking out of NATO.
Please let this rip NATO apart from the inside. This is one of the things we were talking about. This is one of the things we've been talking about over the last couple of days that I think wasn't clear in the opening stages of this conflict. When it's kind of like watching this saying, like, what are they fucking doing? Like, they're making NATO stronger with this. Less apparent now that this is going on, that this massive energy crisis is hitting Western Europe. And these NATO countries are realizing how they're getting fucked in this process. All outcomes have been considered. That's what they said. That's what they said from right before it started. I don't know. I think between this and the rest of Western Europe watching this and NATO prospect of Ukraine just being completely ruined is hopefully waking up a few people. You would think so, yeah. You would think so. Yeah, like that was the talk of the Scandinavian countries joining. Doesn't really seem to be happening anymore. Reminder that after the war started and prices here rose 50 to 100%, I asked my local baker if they could even survive when people can't afford their baked goods, and the reply was, it's worth it to get rid of a madman. I think people might start changing their tune on that, though. Yeah, hopefully Taiwan, ROK, and Japan are watching this more so than Europeans. Seriously. I think if you are in Taiwan, you'd probably be wanting to pay close attention to this. This is what happens. This is what happens when you agree to become a Western proxy state. And like we've been saying, when you're talking about Ukraine or Taiwan, this completely fake idea.
Use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Thank you, Dimitri, for the 100 friend coin. I'll get to your link in just one sec. When you get to this like childlike idea, though, that like protecting Ukraine or Taiwan is about protecting them from autocracy, defending these beautiful democratic values, and keeping them safe from being overtaken by this mean, cruel, authoritarian, imperialist neighbor. Are you fucking kidding me? You know, are you a child to believe this? Are you an actual child? Agreeing to become a Western proxy does not end well, right? It does not end well. It's going to end well for the elites. It's going to end well for Ukrainian and Taiwanese elites, and it's going to be a fucking disaster for everyone else. I'll try to boost the volume a bit here.
That our being cold is less important than him keeping a war going that he's not going to win. It strikes me. As for the source question, I've been doing this so long. I'm not bothered by the fact that
I wish people had the same levels of solidarity and self-sacrifice for good things and not imperialist proxy wars. Well, it shows like none of the fucking dipshits that talk about Ukraine's
good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Ukraine's just struggle, anti-imperialist struggle against the immoral, unprovoked occupation. Who don't support arming Palestinians. They don't support. They didn't support arming Libyans when they were being attacked by NATO. They didn't support that. They don't support arming these struggles for independence against countries that are being destroyed by Western imperialism. But in this case, though, it's very important. Though we must arm the Ukrainians for their noble struggle for freedom and democracy. What a childish notion, Like grown adults, educated people that are out there making this case. We got to continue the unlimited arms transfers into Ukraine to support the beautiful struggle for democracy and freedom. We're not in a fucking Michael Bay movie. Thank you very much, Comrade Social Distancing, for the gifted sub. We're liberating them. Like, Jesus Christ. How many times do we have to go through this before people realize what the dynamic is here? It's unbelievable. It's really frustrating and disheartening to see how many people have gotten sucked into that.
That the government attacks me and that my old newspaper, the New York Times, hasn't written a word about it. I find it sort of, that's where we are. That's why people like me are in Substack. It's a self-publishing thing. I don't have to worry about censorship or second thoughts. But I don't talk about sources. I just, I'm lucky. I've had for 20 or 30 or 40 years people inside who not only are faithful to what they're doing, but also are not afraid to be critical of it. And so that's the kind of source that reporters dream about. And I've had people like that for forever, and I still do. And so there's been a lot of criticism. One of the things I will get to your point about criticism. One of the criticisms of the open source people, OSINT, it's a very big part of the world now. There are people that monitored air traffic and boat traffic and all that, and there's some 2 or 3 different groups have produced statements saying that none of the things they see tracks with my story. And I would say about that, if you're in the intelligence community and you've been running covert ops for years and you're in Norway, we're working very closely with the Norwegians on this, who, by the way, have increased their production of oil to Europe by double it. It was, I don't know the exact numbers.
Lenin said, patiently explain, because our fellow working class are relentlessly propagandized their whole lives, and we didn't always see through it. Very true. Please, someone gift a sub to Drake Myers. Drake, who joined the stream to correct me for my, again, intentional error, but I think would fit right in this community. Real Drake Myers.
But it's gone up at least double, maybe even more than that, 2.5 times as much now without the pipeline.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Open source people make them think what happened isn't happening.
Thank you, Lenin Smash.
That's so obvious to me, but not
for the gifted sub. Thank you.
And so,
Sai, I wanted to go to what Ned Price said at the State Department. Sam Husseini of the Institute for Public Accuracy questioned the State Department spokesperson about your reporting last week.
I'm sure you're aware of the new report from Seymour Hersh, how America took out the Nord Stream pipeline and the White House's denial of any involvement. Given the longstanding U.S. opposition to the pipeline, Secretary Blinken's calling its demise a tremendous opportunity, and Under Secretary of State Nuland's saying that the U.S. officials were pleased with the destruction of the pipeline, and especially the Sweden's secretive investigation. Do you think the U.S. government's denial of involvement is credible?
I absolutely do, and I repeat it here. Anything else?
Let me follow up on that, if I might. Have you or
Let's move on.
anybody else at the
Let's
State
move on from
Department,
this.
Any communication with German, Norwegian ambassadors or other allies or officials on this matter?
On the matter of Nord Stream 2?
On the matter of the latest allegations, which give a fairly, I mean, it's
For the Nord Stream, I'm not familiar with.
It is. It would not be. It would not be typical for us to engage allies and partners on something that is utter and complete nonsense and that should be rejected out of hand by anyone who is looking at it through an objective lens. Yes, go ahead.
Through an objective lens, like when you see the president be like, yeah, we're going to get rid of that, Jack. The Nord Stream, I'm not familiar. I have never heard of that before in my life, actually. Just insulting and gaslighting everyone. Like, fucking Jesus Christ.
One more aspect on this. One of the allegations that Hersh makes is...
I like this reporter not dropping it. His face here is good when he tries to move on. He tries to move on, and then the guy stays on him. Look at his face.
Rejected out of hand by anyone who is looking at it through an objective lens. Yes, go ahead.
One more aspect on this. One of the...
He had a very good blink there.
Go ahead. One more aspect.
It was a big throat clear, yeah. No, he had nothing to do with it. Yeah. These fucking liars, man. Liars.
On this, one of the allegations that Hersh makes
liars and murderers
taken off the CIA in order to prevent
that was a signal for security. Yeah, that's right.
Oversight as a covert operation. Did you read the piece?
I'm familiar with it.
So no.
One of his allegations is that it was taken off the CIA.
Look, rather than let this propaganda be aired in the briefing room, but let me just say it is a fundamental misunderstanding of oversight in our U.S. Congress. Beyond getting his facts entirely wrong, as he has before in very high-profile ways. It is a fundamental misunderstanding to suggest that our intelligence community is not subject to oversight. Anyone who writes that, anything who writes anything like that, should not be believed on any fact that he or she puts forward.
That it was taken off.
Yeah, it's subjected to oversight, right? The president says, like, hey, what are you guys up to? I don't know if I agree with this. And then they say, President, Dallas, Texas is really nice this time of year. You ever been to Dallas, Mr. President? Why don't you go? What do you think about taking a little joyride? You ever seen Dealey Plaza? Beautiful, beautiful this time of year. Those Texas live oaks, gorgeous. Maybe we can take you to see that. And they say, okay, approved, mission approved. Mission approved. We got the Mr. X. This is going to have to do. We're revamping the emotes and bringing in some of the really cool emotes Lodane made. I had to retire some because we never used them. It's a great place for book lovers. That's right.
The CIA and put under military in order to prevent.
Our military is also subject to rigorous oversight.
That's my question. That's my question.
The answer is yes.
So that's Ned Price being questioned by Sam Hussein
Weasley
in the
little
State
liar,
Department
dude.
press briefing room.
Weasley little liar, dude.
Cy Hirsch, I'm wondering if you can respond. You wrote an interesting follow-up today on Substack called Crap on the Wall. Now, it's not your words, actually. You're actually quoting the White House when the most bizarre effort came from Defense Department of Donald Rumsfeld, you write. 2 decades ago, Secretary Rumsfeld, Vice President Richard Cheney discarded the rule of law and common decency in their efforts to stomp out Muslim terrorism. I was writing for The New Yorker. You're talking about the Abu Ghraib scandal. The White House responded to an article I published about the CIA's secret operations, inside Iran, by calling it another example of Hirsch throwing crap. That was the word used by an Assistant Secretary of Defense on a wall to see what sticks. Under Barack Obama, you say a senior national security advisor responded Seymour Hersh is a known fabricator, adding the magazine, The New Yorker, could publish that response to any future Hirsch story without further checking. Your response to all of this?
Well, my long-gone mother, who came here as an immigrant and loved America more than anybody, particularly about Ned Price's stuff, she would have said he should have washed out his mouth with soap, which is what she actually did to me a few times. So anyway, that's what can I say? It's sometimes. I won't say truth. That's too. Sometimes different versions of a story cause problems. The reason I went into that sort of soliloquy about what's going to happen possibly in NATO and Europe about Biden's act of saying to the Western Europe and Germany, we rather keep our war going, and you can stay cold. Is I think it could cause some countries to say, we may be out of here. What do we need NATO for? And American support when in a crisis, they take away our ability to keep our people warm. It also could lead, I think the Green Party has done very well in Germany. The chancellor is from the Green Party. I think it's going to lead to widespread conservative movement politically.
This is what I've been saying too.
One thing we did after World War II that was fantastic.
Famous journalists Seymour Hersh and Rob Rousseau. That's what I've been saying, though. Like the fact that these neoliberal establishments in both France and Germany, for example, going along with this and literally sacrificing their own energy security at the behest of the United States, it's only going to empower right-wing movements in these countries, who are going to be able to make this argument to people. Look what your leaders have done. Your leaders have allied here with the U.S., and they've allied with Ukraine, and it has decimated our energy security. And it's going to lead the right to take all that very real anger and channel it into their own reactionary direction. And they're going to be able to sweep away the establishments in these countries, the political establishments. Yeah, which is blowback they can live with if they go fascist again. That's right, because that's still good for business. But it's not going to be good for the actual, fucking societies that are experiencing this.
was we rebuilt Europe into a modern democratic plurality society, plural society. I think it could lead to it won't go as far as it did in Italy. We could lead to some conservative victories and subsequent legislations, because Europe's always had no natural resources. They've always had to rely on others. And the others included us and also Russian gas. And if we want to stop that off, we do it at a political cost. And I think the point I'm making is I'm still going to do more reporting on this because there's still things I need to write about later. I think that this has probably been, in the view of some of the people who did it, one of the dumbest things American government has done in years. And we've had 4 years of Trump, you know. In the long run, I just don't understand why more newspapers, good newspapers like the Times, I still read the New York Times. I don't believe everything they say about Ukraine, but it's still, they've got wonderful reporters there. My attitude towards editors is, if we got rid of 90% of the editors in the world, we'd be much better off. But that's always been, since I was a kid reporter, I thought that. So, you know, I don't care what they say. I mean, if I did, I would weep, because some of the stuff is so dumb. It's just so dumb. And
get their asses.
The Biden administration putting Ned Price, he's paid to work. I don't fault him. He actually knows intelligence. He had a career in intelligence. And
love an ideology that tolerates and even prefers fascism. It does make you think, doesn't it? It makes me think.
And he says it. Let me just say this. You got to go back to the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, after the bombing in September.
Yeah, great opportunity for us.
In which it was a press conference in which he made a gratuitous statement. He said, one good thing is that no more will Russia be able to weaponize gas. And the notion of Russia weaponizing gas to get fame
always
and to diminish our power over or our authority or our economic ability, control over Western Europe has been a theme of this country for 2 decades. It's not a new theme. Oil scares the hell. Russian oil and gas always scared the hell out of Washington. Now your question is still.
Yeah, lastly, the Norwegian government has claimed that one of the ships that you mentioned in your article that was involved in the planning of this or preparation of this was not present at the time of these exercises. What do you make of Norway's denial?
You know, let me tell you something about Nicaragua you don't know. One of the things that happened in Nicaragua, the CIA guys operating there would thrill and get excited. There were speeches there, and you know, even in the worst of times, in the Sandinista movement, they would go in their little motorboats off the beaches and shoot flechettes into the beaches and have a contest to see, you know, I shouldn't say the latter. They would just shoot and know there were casualties. They would just do that and have a lot of fun talking about it and bragging about it. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you get into when you have a covert operation. And so
this is what they train these people to do.
That's just completely. I'm sorry. I dropped something here.
Hirsch, come on, man.
Not only did that ship have it was in the operation, it also have a compression chamber that had been flown in by the CIA. Now I'm getting the details I don't want to bother with. The CIA flew in a compression chamber that's put on the ship because it's just a submarine hunter. And the divers at 260 feet, that's the level. The Norwegians found the lowest level, the shallowest part of the Baltic Sea, which is off an island called, that's between Sweden and Denmark. And they practiced there. They had to. And for the divers, it was 260 feet deep where the landlines were. And the pipelines are steel covered, but they're also covered by concrete shields. So it's a serious job to blow them up. And at 260, without a compression chamber, they'd have to go up every 90 feet. They're breathing. It's amazing to me. They're breathing oxygen, nitrogen, and helium. That's pretty amazing to me. And they'd have to go up. Now they could just pop up to the surface. So it was called the Alta. The ship was there. I mean, that's just such a stupid lie. But it's a submarine hunter. They didn't have to stay there. They could just go and the guys could jump off. And there was no long recovery. At a certain time, they would come up, and the time was fixed. You don't.
I wanted to get to this comment as well from Lana. at least for a few of these psychos in the MIC, doing nuclear brinksmanship with Russia or China is fine because they're end of days evangelicals that think this is some kind of holy war. It's also important to acknowledge that a lot of these people are also ideologically and philosophically committed to a holy war of annihilation as much as they're in it for short-term material gain. For sure, that's absolutely right. See also these evangelical Zionists, right? You know, they don't support Israel. They're not fervent, diehard Zionists because they love Jewish people. On the contrary, they want Jewish people to leave their communities in America and Canada and go back to Israel so their precious little end times prophecy can be fulfilled. A lot of these folks, like we were looking at on TikTok yesterday, Lana, a lot of these folks are really riled up right now with all the UFO stuff. Like there's another thing I discovered on TikTok right now called Operation Blue Beam. This is like a big on conspiracy TikTok as well. So there's all these evangelicals that think Jesus is coming back. They're like, we're right on the verge of the return. And they think there's this conspiracy called Operation Blue Beam where they think they're going to fake the return of Jesus as part of some nefarious New World Order plot. It's pretty wild stuff. Yeah. We can look at this after. This is because I went down this UFO rabbit hole, and there's people that really believe all the UFO stuff is a sign that Jesus is coming back, and there's people that believe this thing called Operation Blue Beam that they're gonna like fake the return of the Messiah or whatever. An avatar that looks like Jesus shows up. Operation Blue Beam, indeed. That's right. Let's finish it. I can show you this. I'm not making this up. It's wild stuff.
You don't drop explosives like that and then let them go off in 5 minutes. You give a lot of time. You have a timer on it so that the divers could get up to the top, and they come up and they make a pickup. It can happen much more quickly than you think because it's not in the description of the ship, but on that ship there was a decompression chamber. It had been flown in and planted there. And by the CIA. This was actually a brilliant operation, if you want to know it from the point of view of a classic operation, because they got away with it. And at that point, the purpose was always, let me go back to this, the purpose for doing it is to make the threat credible. But then you have the president and the undersecretary of state within a weeks or two of getting a word that it's credible, we can do it. Start blabbing about it. Of course, that was disillusioning to the people involved, but so what? I can't talk about it. You can say it's not true, I invented it, but that's just, look, he did it, and he's going to have up to it. I watch my mail. I watch my Gmail, and I'm seeing every day more and more than I want. I'm seeing more messages from around the world, different countries streaming in. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing something that was, and by the way, on Substack, it was, I didn't know about Substack. It's an amazing platform. They had more than 1 million hits on the thing within a day. Well, I mean, people, what were the messages I got from people who said, thank God we missed the kind of reporting that you and others have done. We don't see it anymore.
This is the Trump move.
I'm talking about your showing me.
I'm always hearing from people.
Well, Seymour Hersh, we want to thank you so much for being with us.
They just love me, and they're like, you're so right.
We'll link to your new piece on your Substack, How America Took Out the North.
Anyway, really interesting stuff. I'm glad this reporting is going on. I'm glad we can watch it. But again, if you got 2 eyes and ears, it was clear what happened. It was clear what happened and who sabotaged the Nord Stream 2 pipeline from moment one. I'm glad that the reporting is going on, but it's not, it's really shouldn't be that much of a mystery, frankly. But yes, definitely thank you for putting it on the table. That's good. I wanted to get to this quote from Lavrov too that I think Dakadun sent through to talk about this, the way that Germany and these other countries are being completely screwed in this process. And Lavrov in this case, and again, you don't have to like the Russians, but Lavrov does often tell it like it is. That's always been my point too. It's like you don't have to like the Russians, but it's important to at least pay attention to what they're saying. You know, people have been had their heads in the sand and they go, la, 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 they put their fingers in their ears and they don't listen. But like, ban RT and ban all these things. It's actually important to pay attention to what the Russian government is saying and what Russian people are saying, both in Russia and in Eastern Ukraine.
Германию не просто унизили, ее поставили на свое место, на место сателлита США, которые будут решать, может ли Германия обеспечивать свое экономическое развитие, удовлетворение социальных потребностей граждан через использование газа, поступающего через газопровод, который оплатила в том числе и Германия. Ей сказали: нет, ребята, вы заплатили деньги, ну забудьте про них, мы их похоронили. Как Байден обещал в январе прошлого года, что этого газопровода не будет, как это обещала Нуланд, как потом Лиз Трасс сразу после теракта выражала свой восторг. Германию не просто унизили, ее поставили.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing to be owned and screwed over by the US like this. Put in its place. Liz Truss, the short-lived Liz Truss era. Yep. And just a couple of other links that came through while we were watching that. The stuff about Taiwan is interesting. A poll, like we were talking about, I hope people in Taiwan are paying attention to what's going on in Ukraine. Do you agree that the U.S. is using Taiwan issue to provoke the PRC? 57.4% agree. Do you agree that only by getting closer to the U.S. we can protect Taiwan? 29% agree. Taiwan cannot fully trust the U.S. We must maintain a distance so as to avoid getting involved in a U.S. PRC conflict. 53% agree. But of course, when this shit kicks off, it's going to be, listen to the Taiwanians. Support the brave Taiwanese struggle against autocracy and for freedom and democracy. That's what we're going to be told, right? Taiwanese? You people are just ruthless. You people are fucking ruthless. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best here. All right? Give me a fucking break once in a while. How about that? Just checking my numbers here. Operation Blue Beam. This is a big thing. Project Blue Beam.
One of these plans for Project Bluebeam is to stage an elaborate worldwide faked alien invasion with
It's
UFOs
like Ozymandias. It's like the plot of Watchmen, basically, but they think it's real.
that will be seen in the sky. These will either be made on this planet with secret technology driven by craft operated by black budgets and military, or advanced holographic imagery.
It's about belief systems, George, and that is why the government will never come up with any disclosure.
One of these plans.
How does Jesus factor into it, though? That's another thing. There's a Jesus angle to this.
Turning others to social media for answers.
It's like an alien attack.
It looked like a UFO coming from the sky. It was scary.
It could be the Ghostbusters thing. I have an idea what's going on in NYC right now.
Turning others to social media for answers.
It's like an alien attack.
It looked like a UFO coming from the sky. It was scary.
It could be the Ghostbusters thing. I have an idea what's going on in NYC right now.
Turning others.
Man, this shit is so weird.
La première phase de Blue Beam.
No. It's in French and it's 6 minutes long.
Okay, so I was a conspiracy theorist before I gave my life to Christ because ultimately everything led me to Jesus. But one of the most popular conspiracies was Project Bluebeam, which is real, in that the government...
I was a conspiracy theorist until I found Jesus, but this is actually real, though.
Or satanic elite has these machines that can create these hologram images that look really real. And that
like in
they're
that
going
Spider-Man
to use these
movie.
for all kinds of psyops and, fake alien invasions and all of these things. But here's the thing, and this is what I want y'all to actually ponder, is that what if Project Bluebeam is a psyop for a psyop, and that actually God is real and he's going to show mighty signs and wonders. He's going to confound the entire earth with his majesty and his miracles and his wonders. And then the government is going to say, those angels aren't real. It's Project Bluebeam. But it actually is real.
That's how they
it
get
actually
you.
is really angels. Okay, so I was a...
That's how they get you. So many very confident people on TikTok. It's very true, Squatch. It's very true. It is very true.
I have an idea what's going on in NYC right now.
One of the
Have you heard of Project Bluebeam? It's a well-outlined conspiracy that suggests that the secret government is planning a new age religion. Through technology and organizations like NASA, they will attempt to fake the second coming of Christ to create a one-world government.
This is what I was talking
about. The theory
about.
suggests that the project would involve a virus outbreak, staged alien invasion, an artificial rapture, and a global-scale holographic projection of religious figures like Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad. Sounds familiar, isn't it? COVID and shot-down UFO balloons all seem very suspicious. So, did it start, and what is coming next? Have you heard of...
This is what this UFO shit has started to really kick off. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know, folks. Was wondering how it tied into the vaccine. Yeah, it's all linked. It's all linked. People will just jump through so many hoops just to not accept class analysis. It's like people will just bend over backwards. They'll contort themselves into pretzels to fucking just avoid the basic reality that's right in front of them, which we understand through a scientific process. I want so bad for the aliens to be real, and I'm just not strong enough to have my heart broken on this again. I mean, if it's going to be real, I would like to just kick off, you know? Enough playing footsie, the aliens, enough with the probes. I think you've been studying us for long enough. Let's just get this show on the road.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Let's fucking go.
Hell yeah, cut man. Thank you, Cutman, for the 18 months tier 1. Thank you. Thank you for that. And anyone else, please. I'm sitting at 7 out of 35 subs. So I'll remind folks again that if you do enjoy this kind of content, like our friend Cutman, and you would like to subscribe to TRRS and join Twitch's only 2-dimensional, triangle-shaped, trickle-down cloud and friendship access tiered reward system, it really helps me out. It helps keep this content on the air. It helps keep this viewpoint on the air on Twitch, which I think is sorely lacking in our landscape of discourse here on twitch.tv. I'm going to say they're not real and be happy to say I'm wrong the moment they show themselves. Yeah, for sure. Like, it's not like I think aliens are real in general. I think it's even a possibility that aliens are here right now. I really do. But I also don't think the U.S. government is being honest about all their bullshit. And I think all this stuff about balloons is more of just them being a paranoid empire, losing their minds with fear at any little shadow frightening them, you know? It would be sick if there were aliens in the chat. That would be sick. Single aliens in your area. I think aliens are probably real at some point in the space-time somewhere. We exist. To someone else in the universe, we're aliens. That's right. And the universe is pretty big. But also, like we've been saying, for any aliens to be here, even from the closest star, would be so far above and beyond anything that we can possibly even imagine in terms of technology. That we're ants under the magnifying glass. Rob, do you know the story of Paul Benowitz? The U.S. government has taken advantage of belief in aliens to obscure sensitive data and drove this guy crazy to discredit him. I do know, I mean, I don't know that specific story, but I do know how the U.S. government kind of leans on this kind of conspiracy community and intentionally fosters it and creates it. Aliens would scope us out and avoid IMHO for various reasons. We'd be worthless to them. I mean, I guess probably the planet's pretty valuable, though, right? Because considering planets with water are at least rare, you know, there's probably billions of them in the universe, but it's still in the scope of the universe. It's pretty rare. We got some goodies here. Can make water using the holodeck. That's true. Yeah. I think the universe is covered in ice rocks. Yeah, maybe Lodane's right. Why would they need water? I don't know. Why not? You know, we're diseased. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Take one look, take one glance down there to be like, I want nothing to do with these people. I want nothing to do with these people whatsoever. Yeah, you'll just go, if you've got the ability to come here, then you can just go to one of the other planets that's empty that has water. You know? Stanton Friedman thought we were quarantined to prevent space imperialism. Yeah, it'll be the kind of thing that as soon as we develop warp drive, then they'll be like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. You're done. As soon as we invent faster than light travel, the aliens are going to be like, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. We shan't be having that. Swipe left. Yeah, loser aliens would be funny if they are just figuring this shit out. I'm going to start streaming Mass Effect to discuss this stuff. It approaches a lot of it. That sounds great. That sounds like a great stream. You should do that. Yeah, they'll roll us right back. Roll us right back to the fucking Stone Age. They're counting on us to do that ourselves, though. So they don't even have to get involved. Even better if they're just figuring this shit out but lie to us. It's like, yeah, we're super omnipotent and we totally know what we're doing. Earthlings. They've got imposter syndrome. Doing this for millions of years, actually. Yeah. That's probably what we're looking at. Capitalism is a long-term alien plot to terraform the planet. Yeah, I think that's something I could get on board with. They're here already. They're here already. Right now, we're turning the planet into something that's more habitable for them. I can fuck with that. I can absolutely fuck with that. I never finished the first Mass Effect. I remember I was really into it for a while, but I never finished it. Ugh. I don't know if I have much else to offer today, folks. I've been very low energy Rob all day. I've been very low energy Rob today. I don't totally know why. I didn't sleep that badly. I should stick around for another little bit. It is February, yes it is. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, okay? I gotta go to the bathroom Little pause. Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll come back. We'll hang out another little bit. I'll try to make number go up a little tiny bit more. And then I can get going. I'll be back in a moment, okay? What do you think of these glasses? Just picked these bad boys up the other day. And you know, if you want to see glasses Rob, there could be two. That's something, right? There could be two glasses Robs on the stream at the same time. If one generous chatter gifted 10 subs or above, you two could have multiple glasses Robs on the screen at the exact same time. How incredible would that be? How incredible would that be? I'm hoping someone's going to bail me out here. I hope someone can bail me out. Someone usually comes through. Someone usually comes through and bails my ass out at the last minute after a long stream toiling away in the content mines. I've found rich veins of content, but have not been able to trade the content in to be exchanged, in exchange for money, which can in turn be exchanged for goods and services. It's here. I think these shades beg for the hood up. This is going to be my next arc. Man, it's kind of uncanny, isn't it?
Okay, Rob. Seriously, wow.
Oh my. Oh my goodness. Gen X Bushy. Gen X Bushy. Thank you so much to Gen X Bushy for the 10 gifted subs. Fucking goddamn. Thank you. That is so kind of you. Now there's two of them. Two of them on the screen at the same time. Need to prime the pumps. That's right. I really appreciate that, Gen X Bushy. And again, if anyone, the final plea, because I do have to go soon. The final plea, if anyone else wants to support this community, support the content that I do here on Twitch, please subscribe to the channel. It's all very, very helpful. It helps keep this content on the air. You can join Twitch's only two-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down cloud tiered reward system. You can see images of me on the screen drinking energy drinks or dancing, or is that what I need to do? Do I need to put on some smooth jazz and humiliate myself? Humiliate myself for your enjoyment? Is that what I have to do? I actually don't think I have it in me today to do that. I think this is the best I have. This is the best I can do, this little costume change. I think this is all I can offer you today. Little Asia, midi Asia might wake them up. I don't know. I don't think they deserve it, Gen X Bushy, frankly. I think I've been too generous. I've been too generous with the MIDI humiliating dance sessions. The Unirobber. That's right. Get tough with us. I'm in just the outfit to do it. This is a TikTok look waiting to happen. I don't see what video you're talking about, Lana, that you linked in the politics channel. I'll ping you. Okay, please ping me. The Unirobber doesn't have the same punch as Ted in college, and many believe he was an egg, and I support their theory. That's right, you don't need the bamboo spear. If you apply the tenets of Juche, the bamboo spear was within you all along. That's the lesson that we learned today. How much long is left in this cartoon? I don't know if I can do this whole thing. I gotta go soon. I gotta go clean up a little bit soon. Gen X Bushy, I really appreciate those 10 gifted subs and the way you've been consistently bailing me out lately. Seriously, I really appreciate it a lot. I really, really do. That does seem like an infuriating video, Lana. I think that's something we can look at another day. I think it's worth pointing out. I wanted to talk. I really wanted to mention this. The killing of Brianna Gray in the UK. Like, we were talking about that whole like say your name thing, and people are trying to say your name because this teenage girl who was tragically murdered is being misgendered, and then people are doing this kind of like fucking bizarre social justice pretzel to like say like, no, it's racist to say that. It's fucking ridiculous. But I think really worth pointing out though that I mentioned this earlier, but I think I wanted to reiterate that, like, considering the way that the UK is like such a hotbed for this like anti-trans activism, that's where it really fucking took off. That's why we call it TERF Island. I think it's really, really revealing and fucking disgusting the way these like gender obsessed reactionaries, these anti-trans activists in the UK who did not even take one day off after this, like, clearly, like, there's a direct link to the kind of rhetoric, genocidal rhetoric that's used against trans people in the UK, and then a trans teenage girl being murdered. And none of these people who have dedicated their entire lives to this fucking quest to just refuse to treat people with basic dignity, none of them took even one day off. And in fact, you see J.K. Rowling, who's probably the most foremost anti-trans activist in the UK, literally the day after this teenage girl is murdered, you have J.K. Rowling's lawyers forcing a transgender woman to publicly apologize for defaming her or suggesting that she promotes fascist ideals. You know, it's extremely fucking sick, these people. Sick and deranged people that not even the murder of an innocent girl can like cause them to even pause for one moment. This relentless like anti-trans quest that they're on. Fucking sickening people. Yeah, they celebrate. It's almost like they want more of such incidents to happen in the future. It's almost like that, isn't it? Absolutely sick people. I'm having a really hard time not making actionable threats on Twitter. Like, you know, it's just so it's extremely disheartening. We saw the same thing after the shooting in Colorado a couple months ago. All the people that have been suggesting that anyone that is given gender affirming care, any doctor or teacher that's like trying to treat a trans young person with basic dignity, suggesting that they're like groomers and pedophiles. And when it leads to a mass shooting in Colorado, it's this exact same thing. They all doubled and tripled down on this rhetoric. And so that's exactly what's happening with the gender obsessed fucking freaks in the UK. Evidence of 4chan involvement. I can't look at that. I'm blocked by Palace Riot though, so I can't look at that thread. I don't know who that is, Lana, but I'm blocked by them. It was really like just the timing of it of and all these fucking people celebrating it. All these people celebrating it. And for this is factual. This person says, JJ Wells, sorry, I was confused about who it was. I said it was a transgender woman earlier, and I was just confused about that. Said she also is a Nazi, or at least has views that align with them. And people that maintain this like gender critical crusade do have views that align with Nazis. This obsession with enforcing these very strict gender hierarchies is a fascist ideal. So talking about J.K. Rowling or any of these fucking weirdos that are obsessed with this and referring to them as at the very least adjacent to or sympathetic with fascists is just a factual statement. It's just a factual statement. Hello, the podcast is very good. Thank you. Thank Rob. Thank you. Thank you to, what was that? Soon 219. Thank you. You know, it's just a factual statement. And then you have J.K. Rowling being like, okay, I'm just going to sue you. I'm going to sue you now for saying this. And then you have this person then apologizing. And these fucking losers like Larry Lemon here, I don't know who this is, some nobody, compares J.K. Rowling to a Nazi, offers groveling apology once the lawyers get involved. Yeah, after this billionaire who lives in a castle and has unlimited funds to legally threaten random people on Twitter, yeah, they had to apologize. Because there's no average person that can hope to like fight back against that. J.J. Wells. He, him, actor, drag queen, jazz hands enthusiast. And this is like the day after a transgender teen is murdered. You know? It's so sick. She's very clearly an anti-Semitic racist freak. We've talked about this. It's not subtle at all. Yeah, we talked about it the other day, talking about the fucking Wizard game. And people are still like, but I want to play the Wizard game though. Come on. J.K. Rowling is actually the defender of the Jews against Corbyn. That's right. Fucking absolutely ridiculous. Sick society, sick people. I remember very well, Biggerwig. I remember. Sick people, folks. I gotta go soon, folks. I haven't seen confirmation, but people were saying the internal files for the Wizard game labeled the one trans character as Mr. Girl. Jesus Christ. It would not surprise me. Kingsley Shacklebolt for the one black character. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Jesus. The current climate is getting worse for trans people. The hateful rhetoric is spreading to the mainstream. Yeah, it's spreading to the mainstream. And like I was saying, Dave, it's like then a trans teen gets murdered. You would think that would maybe cause some of these people who claim to care about protecting kids, you'd think it would cause them to maybe take a moment to think about what kind of impact their rhetoric about this is having and their nonstop crusade against transgender people is having. They claim to want to protect kids from this kind of thing. And then their rhetoric inspires a teen girl to get murdered. And none of them stop for even a fucking moment to think about this. And then they sue people when you compare them to fascists. You just get sued. You know? Fucking gross. Like, let's look at this here. This is still, I don't know. This is still an interlude. It's not a full segment, but I wanted to make sure we touched on this. I'd like to publicly apologize for a previous Twitter thread where I interacted with J.K. Rowling on matters relating to the transgender community. I have now removed these tweets and would like to apologize to J.K. Rowling directly for causing potential upset. It's a fucking Twitter account with 8,000 followers being sued by a fucking billionaire. I failed to choose my words with care and would like to retract my previous statements relating to her views on the LGBTQ+, and more specifically, transgender people. I would also like to retract my likening to J.K. Rowling to any far-right or Nazi organization and emphasize you do not wish any individual, inclusive of J.K. Rowling, to come to any harm. And again, it's just making a factual statement. When you compare these like gender critical people or whatever it is, anti-trans activists to Nazis, you're making a factual statement. And it's also factual to say that J.K. Rowling and others like her promote this kind of like transphobic bigotry every single day and are directly contributing to the climate that is getting transgender teens killed. And that's just that's just pointing out reality. You know, that's all. When you mention that, that's just pointing out that's just describing basic reality. I think Britain should be over as well. It is a cursed land. It has brought nothing. It's brought nothing good. Yeah, that's what I've been saying, Relic. I mean, that's these famous book burnings that these people love to like talk about as signs of fascism. What books were they burning? You know? Attacking like transgender people and people that were trying to understand and like take apart this strict gender hierarchy were the first people that were targeted by the Nazis. She's done all this to herself. She could have minded her own business, but she's decided to lead this weird anti-trans crusade. You see the way people's brains get melted too, right? It starts with one tweet, right? It starts with like one tweet, and then like a year later, it's all the person can think about or talk about. The fucking anti-trans mind virus. To them, the biggest tragedy is the loss of control over the bodies of women and children. So if someone they think is a degenerate dies, that's a win for them, which is, again, a completely in line with fascist ideals. It's frustrating too because it's like she can't even like admit, like when people describe her, she sues people who describe her as being transphobic despite spending every single day of her life sharing this kind of rhetoric and contributing to this deranged hate campaign. But if you say they're transphobic or fascist adjacent, they call their fucking lawyers on you. All right, I gotta get going, folks. I gotta get going. I will be back tomorrow. I don't think there will be a show on Friday. I think my kid is not in school on Friday, so pretty sure tomorrow will be the last show of the week. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for hanging out. If anyone else does want to subscribe, there's still a couple minutes left to get over 20. That'd be kind of nice, right? But if not, it's okay. People that watch this stream are very, very supportive, and I appreciate each and every one of you a whole lot.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to
Lennon
talk
Smash.
through all this.
Lennon Smash, thank you so much for the 3 gifted subs. That's very kind of you.
You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I'm very happy to have you in the community, Lennon Smash. You're a relatively new community member, and you've fit right in here, and you've been very supportive, and I appreciate it a lot. And thank you, Simulacra, as well, for the 10 months of Prime. Look at that. We love it. We love it, folks. Wait, I should say goodbye and everything before I initiate the raid. Gonna raid our friend Left Flank Vets. I really do hope I get another opportunity to get featured on the Twitch front page. I've been little frustrated about certain incidents that have taken place. I'm trying really hard to grow the stream this year, so I don't have to really rely on the people that have been so supportive in this community. Still thinking about it. Yeah, still thinking about it. That's the thing. I really want to grow the stream, so I don't have to rely on the people that have been so generous who have supported this channel. So when I shoot myself in the foot on that and screw myself over, it's very frustrating. Me too. We still love you. Collectively, I'm still sus of you. Fair enough. Fair enough. Tough but fair. It was a funny bit. I mean, there's no denying that. There's no denying that at all. I was just excited about the book, Sean. How did you shoot yourself in the foot? It was because the other day up the Reds, I started the stream and I had like 700 or 800 viewers because I guess it would be featured on the front page of Twitch. And I showed immediately because it just came in the mail and I was excited. I wasn't really thinking. And I was like, look at my new Stalin book that I got, my Lacerdo Stalin book, History and Critique of a Black Legend. And it immediately just went like, and all the viewers left. And I got immediately, I know I'm blacklisted. I'm blacklisted from Twitch. The graph is painfully hilarious. It is funny. Like, you do kind of have to laugh. You do. Made the mistake of showing a book that isn't relentlessly hostile from the outset. Jesus. This stream will grow. We will grow the stream this year, one way or the other. I'm trying to get big on TikTok. That's my thing. I've been pretty good about posting TikToks. I'm trying to become a big TikTok superstar now. That'll be a way to cross. I'll be able to cross-pollinate. It's growing despite the haters. That's right. I've been doing pretty good in the viewers. You know? I'm not trying to complain. Thanks again, folks. Okay? Yeah, and I know in all my, whenever I'm neurotic about this, Lana, I try to keep that in mind. I know that I am doing better than most. I know that. Okay, sounds good, Lodane. Thanks again, folks. Give Marcus my regards. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you in the Discord. Thanks for watching. Talk to you tomorrow. Until next time.